so far.
Yeah, and are they kind of in terms of the kind of the tools and the we're always looking for that kind of great leap forward and new technology and disruptive tech and what have you. But I also wonder if they're sitting there and going, it's great when these guys just don't patch. Because that's when you hear organisations patch, that's the worst thing for them. Is there are they discussion board where they literally talk about like what don't necessarily need to name vendors, but also tools that we think are great and disruptive, but they're like, well, that's emerging tech and that's just not going to work. And actually, I'm just going to mention patching again because it's the most boring thing, but it's also the most important thing. Just make sure you patch at least as step one. Do they even get down to that level of like what are the good sorts of tools that are more effective or easier or more of a challenge to be able to target?
Yeah, and they talk about it all the time.
Yeah,
there are robust conversations about some of the world's largest brands on planet Earth, and they love talking about all the vulnerabilities
right. Yeah,
in them, especially unpatched vulnerabilities.
yeah.
So yes, that is critical. They talk about it. They tout it, and some threat actors make their name by putting together manuals, by putting together the how-to guides, selling these how-to guides for very specific mega gigantic brands in the world. And so you're not wrong. It's interesting that they pay attention. It's their full-time job, and they're very good at it. And yes, they make their names by talking about it, shaming them, and they even talk about brands that are easier to mega brands in the world that are easier to take advantage of. They even talk about financial institutions that are like have no oversight or little to no oversight, so they can mule money easier, right? Yeah. They talk about these things, and I remember we did a research project for a mega financial brand, and my researcher goes, "Do you use this brand?" And I said, "No, I don't." And they said, "Please don't,"
Wow.
because threat actors were like making fun of them for how they can get away with anything against their clients, from money muling to account takeovers and stuff. So yeah, they love amongst themselves to name and shame. They like it.
Yeah. Well, one of the things I was going to kind of touch on, but it makes sense in terms of like signals, in terms of, so obviously not every organization has, has threat intelligence feeds or has these reports, because obviously, it's still a growing and emerging market. And we'll touch on maybe how you demonstrate the value of intelligence at the moment. But kind of first of all, that where organisations are doing this, and they obviously have teams out there, and then they work with with organisations like ZeroFox. But are there things that signals that they should be more looking out for that they aren't, or are there things that organisations maybe do see but then might ignore? Because it feels remarkable that a big brand of that size would not be aware of some of those vulnerabilities. So is it a question of priorities? Is it a question of not thinking, even a big organisation thinking that's not a target or we're not a target? Are there things that lots of organisations kind of either don't see or don't prioritise in the way they should?
Budgets are tight, and so one of the a struggle that everyone feels. We have lovely clients. We have lovely potential clients. Like they're just wonderful people. But, at the end of the day, how do you justify your existence? How do you justify spending X amount of money and get a plus X amount in return? Yeah. And so I don't think it's ignorance necessarily. I don't think it's anything other than, justifying the expense. Like almost 100% of people will say, like, I know I need this. I just need you to tell me or prove and demonstrate value and why I need this, right? And so, I'm not making light of any attack or anything, but it's kind of like having a snow shovel, right? Like, or a snow blower, right? Like, you don't really know how much you need it until something. An extreme weather event happens and you're like, man, I'm so glad I have this generator. I'm so glad I 2 years ago I bought this snowblower that I spent all this money on, right? And so, the old joke is like, it's not going to snow this year because I bought a snowblower, right? And a lot of what we do, I think, because it depends, right? And so Organizations know they need something. And demonstrating intelligence value is either really easy, depending on the brand, because you're like, oh, wow, I didn't know that. That's unbelievable. But, sometimes the criminal world moves on from your brand and takes a break.
Yeah.
And we don't know why. We just don't know why. That, like, you were hot in a bad way for a little bit, like you were talked about, your customers' information was everywhere. And then there's a cool off period for 6 to 9 months. And like, you're like, man, there's no signals out there. They're not talking about you. We don't know why. And then it's like, well, it's time for renewal. You've only given us this much. That equals this much money, equals this much. It's like, I apparently don't need this anymore. So it's challenge. It's a challenging budgetary environment. It always has been, even when like times are good. It's just still hard for people to justify things if you're not saving the day.
Yeah.
And
there's a difference between kind of, don't want to say pre and post breach, but in terms of that proactive element of like, what's going on? How can we use it as a forward thinking in terms of building out our strategy and prioritizing where we make our investment in technology spend? But then there's also the kind of the post incident, like what on earth has gone on, instant response. How do we deal with it? The approach that organizations are going to take is obviously going to vary quite a lot. And I suppose on the pre stuff, it's how forward thinking and proactive an organization probably is in terms of cybersecurity as to how highly they recognize the importance of it.
Yeah, and I'm gonna say a couple of things. Okay, so for example, a common feedback that we get is, why are you sending me these credentials? These don't match our password requirements. So why are you sending these to me? Yeah. And so, fair question, right? We hear it a lot. And I would say, well, a couple of things. One, now you know that your employees, probably against your corporate policy, are out signing up for other third-party memberships, online memberships that expose your brand. Okay? So it's a brand exposure issue. And number two, regardless if it's a password that doesn't match your requirements, what if there's a variation that they're using internally? Three, you know what type of credentials are being brokered out there. So now you can go to your boss and say, look, our password requirements are working because these doofuses that are putting together these account takeover, they're trying to do credential stuffing attacks. They're putting together these combo lists.
Yeah.
Yes, with our email domains, but they don't understand our password requirements. So like they think this is going to work and it's not going to work.
Yep.
So the bad guys are talking about the wrong things. That's valuable to know.
Yep.
If they're talking about the wrong things, like, well, it doesn't meet our password requirements. Good.
Yep.
That is not a good thing. It's good to know that, right?
Yep.
So you, as the CISO or the network security engineer, or the security engineers or the IT managers, can say, our stuff is working, right? They think it's this, but it's actually this plus this. Like, so we are good. So now we can focus our energies into protecting the technology when that attack comes, when that the stuffing attempts come, right?
Or they need a conversation down their digital supply chain.
Yes, right? Because, that data is not in the company's custody. That's on a third-party server somewhere. When this probably perfectly good employee was like, I'll just use my corporate email. I don't, whatever, right?
Yeah.
And which we've all done it. So, it's good to know what's going on. And if nothing is going on, nobody likes to hear, well, if nothing's going on, but that's also interesting.
Yeah.
It's a piece of the puzzle. We're not saying in our industry that we have the whole puzzle that we're giving you.
Yeah.
Okay. Intel is like, you have the full picture, security professional. You have the whole picture of like your organization's vulnerabilities. Like you understand everything. Maybe we're a corner piece and like that, like somewhere in the middle, right? Like, so we're giving you these puzzle pieces and saying, hey, this is what's going on here. How does that fit into your puzzle piece? Your big puzzle. You don't have to tell us.
No.
Right? Like, don't disclose your stuff, but that's helpful to know. Okay, check. They're talking about things that don't matter. Cool. They're talking about us, but like they're wrong, right? I had one client one time, we passed them a bit of intel that a very dangerous English-speaking hacker posted some IPs,
right. And
the client was at first very flippant about it. Well, this IP is, we don't use this anymore. This is not good intel. I said, okay, let me frame it a different way. The world's most scary English-speaking threat actor has your brand in mind for something.
Yep.
And he's telling his minions, who are also very dangerous and capable, that these are important to him.
Yep.
And then it was like, oh, now we understand. Like, yes, so just be careful out there, okay? We don't know, again, we don't know why. We don't know what you did, what you didn't do. We don't know because we don't have the other pieces of the puzzle that you have. But here's that piece. Is that helpful? If it's not helpful, let me know. So it's an interesting and it's a challenging environment, and it's hard for somebody. It is hard for people on the line to say things like, well, how much money did we save? What?
Yeah.
I'm like, well, I don't know. Do we use the stat that each data breach costs an average of $4 million? So if we passed you 25,000 compromised credentials, is that $23 gajillion in savings? No. So it's hard to quantify it, and we live in a world that wants math.
Yeah, and easy results. But is there also a cultural thing that we still haven't necessarily kind of broken out of, as to, like, I have got so much to deal with and I'm just trying to protect this. I haven't got time to worry about anything that's outside of the walls of my castle, which is still a little bit how we think about network security, I think.
Oh, 100%. And that's reasonable. It's a reasonable thing to think. It's like, again, like, we're not saying that it's not unreasonable to go, look, like, I am overworked.
Yeah.
And like, people above me, like, yes, I get it, Adam. I get this all matters. I get that it all matters. Excuse me. I get that it all matters, but all they want to know, right? Really smart people who are also very busy, right?
Yep.
All we want to know is, okay, did X make our Y bigger or smaller? Or are we safe? Are we good? Right. So yeah, it's still a maturing idea, like cyber intelligence specifically, feeds, outside of feeds, all of it is still like, well, what's the point? We're not getting any hits, and then when something unfortunate does happen, well, why didn't you tell us? Well, yeah, I know. So it's, again, like, people are understandably upset. They're understandably scared. They're understandably motivated to protect their brand.
Yep.
Oh, and also their jobs, right? And so, it's weird out there.
Yeah. And it's the thing in terms of being able to kind of make that shift to be able to talk about the value better. The fact that we are talking more about supply chains, more about integration of all, we always talk about integration of technologies, but it's the same, the sheer volume of data traffic out there being API based, because it's just computers talking to computers, is very huge. Is that the thing that's gradually going to get more people going, actually, we do need to have a better understanding of what is going out there? Because everybody is asking us, and we're kind of asking everybody else as well, and we all need just as an organization, I need a better handle of what's going on, maybe even not just with my organization, but with the organizations that I'm trading with and increasingly integrated with, because I am now relying on them for my business, because if they go down, then I potentially go down.
Yes. And everybody, so there are mega gigantic wonderful brands who care about things, who are storing data from wonderful people from all over the world, who are also associated with other wonderful brands who actually care, right? So I will never question people's intent or their heart. Nobody I've ever talked to ever in my life in our industry, client, vendor, anyone, is like, well, we're just doing this because, like, well, we don't care. Nobody has ever told me, like, we don't care.
Yep.
Even when in discussions, cost discussions, caring never comes up. Everybody, 100% of the time, everybody is trying to do the right thing and protect as much as possible. Okay. Yep. So that, I just want to say that we are interconnected. Everybody, like, it doesn't matter that, let's say I have an online bank account. My information is likely, with my consent, being stored somewhere else outside of this particular company's direct oversight.
Yeah.
Possibly, right? And or it's being brokered and shared and sold to data aggregator, right? Like, so all legal, at least in North America, right? All legal. I consented somewhere. I clicked on a button. It's a topic for another discussion, but yeah, like I have consented, right?
Yeah.
And so, yes, it's interesting. So if one thing is not configured appropriately,
Yeah.
you can go and hit that one thing, the 16 billion, for example. You can hit one thing and have access to all the logins from financial, online shopping, right? Online commerce, right? Like it's you can crypto wallets,
Yep.
which are being decimated by bad guys. Like they are stealing left and right from a very lovely and enthusiastic community of people who like love this, right?
Yep.
It's yeah. So yes, supply chain. One big thing gets hurt, it has ripple effects throughout. And I will say that it's heartwarming to some extent that everybody, all the companies involved, they are talking to each other.
Yep.
And so like behind the scenes, we're all working together, which is thankfully wonderful to hear. But yes, they don't have bad guys who want to disrupt supply chain can do it more efficiently if they hit the right server.
Yeah. And kind of from a kind of obviously kind of get into the top of the chat now, and I think we could probably go on definitely a good while. But in terms of where you're kind of seeing, or where you expect things to kind of move in terms of kind of over the next kind of 6 to 12 months, it's from a bigger kind of geopolitical perspective, it's probably going to carry on getting a lot more chaotic and and challenging. Is that where you're kind of you expect it to increasingly go in terms of more muddying waters and making that analysis and attribution just even harder?
Yeah. Attribution is a tricky thing. It's, people understandably want to know who did it.
Yeah.
And was it Russia? Was it China? Was it Canada? Was it Mexico? Like, I don't, who did it? And it's like, well, okay, we'll try. You know what I mean? We're going to try.
Yep.
But yes, with all the various there's a lot of war right now. And there's a lot of potential for shooting war right now.
Yep.
Even more so. And in addition to that, so in addition to having to worry about shooting wars and the humanitarian crises that result from that, maybe to prevent or to poke or to escalate or all of the above, brands that are believed to be associated with one side or the other, the opposite side is going to come harder.
Yeah.
Meaning that if you say something or you're believed to be a certain persuasion, a certain side of the political spectrum that the other side doesn't like, it is, doxing is going to continue to rise.
Yep.
There is a war on people who make decisions in the business world, right? Executive protection is a problem.
Yep.
It's been the warfare has been personalized, right? So in the good old days, if you had a grievance with a brand, you wrote an angry letter, or you staged a boycott, you left a bad review, you made a phone call, you spoke to a manager, you threw paint on a building, which is still wrong. But to now say that now they've shifted from that type of behavior to considering it in bounds to become violent and kill somebody or their loved ones, right? That's increasing. So your cyber hygiene is going to become more critical than ever to ensure that you, as a decision maker in a brand that's just paying pensions, paying medical insurance, allowing people to work, providing a service, providing a product, like these things matter in the world. And so we're crossing over from, well, it could be argued we've done this for a while, but it's becoming more poignant that the cyber world, the violence and the rhetoric from the cyber world is spilling over in a more meaningful way into the physical world. fueling protests, hatred, abuse against law enforcement, against executives, or against protesters, right? It's going to increase proportionate to the rhetoric and the anxiety around war escalation or not,
Yep.
right? And so I would say in the next 6 to 9 months, we're going to see an increase, unfortunately, in politically motivated DDoS, extortion, and hack and dumps, unfortunately.
So let's end on a positive, though.
Yeah, of course.
Because that feels like I do agree, but that feels, that's a slightly scary, and we don't want to just do fun.
Of course.
So I'm gonna ask for a reason. I don't always ask for a reason. Ask for a reason to be positive in terms of what we're seeing, that in terms of improvements, in terms of things that organizations are doing, little practical steps, or just sort of technology, or whatever it happens to be, that we can be optimistic, that we can talk about more, because we do need to make sure that we're talking about the positives, and not just the big scaries.
Good. I love it. I default, probably a philosophical question, but like I consider myself to be default optimist, an optimistic person. So look, the world's a beautiful place. Technology is being used mostly for good. We are seeing, at least on our side of things, an increase in cooperation amongst brands, between brands. We're seeing our tools getting better to defend. We're seeing our accesses to the criminal underworld getting better and better, being able to shed insights onto things that will help protect people more. The good guys are also getting better at these things. I would say it's usually kind of like the stereotype that since all bad guys do is do bad guy things, and good guys like do other things like hobbies and but besides just be good all the time, right? We do other things. We sleep, we eat, we go on holidays, and we spend time with loved ones, right? So I would say that the good guys are doing a very good job, and there's a lot more to be optimistic about than not. And I would say that the future is bright. Technology is a blessing. Social media has its place in society, but it's made the world much smaller. We can now understand and love and care about things that that we want to now, and bless those people. So no, technology is a blessing. Cybersecurity is getting better and better. This idea that there's a skills gap, I think it's closing. I can't tell you that no matter where I go in the world and I tell people I do cybersecurity, everybody wants to do it, right? And the great thing about cybersecurity is that there's a place at the table for everyone.
Absolutely, yeah.
You don't the stereotype of this IT, slovenly, person who just is really arrogant and banging on a keyboard thinking everybody's stupid. Like, those days are long gone. We have, we have intelligence professionals. We have customer service professionals that we need. We have technical people that we desperately need and that are filling these gaps. We have literature people we need. We need people who can think and express themselves and take the things that the technical people are so good at and relaying it to clients in a relatable way and in an actionable way. So it's a lovely industry, attracting all sorts of people, and everybody has a place. You don't have, people are like, well, what courses should I take? What courses should I take? I'm like, no, bring yourself, bring you, come to the table, man. And yes, if you've got attitude and aptitude, you're in. You're good. We have everybody working for us, all backgrounds. We just hired a person who's a professional dancer. Until he came over to us, right? So everybody has a seat. Our industry is progressing quickly. This skills gap thing that goes around, I'm not seeing it. We have too many people trying to apply that are very qualified to do it, right? So it's not doom and gloom. It's mostly good. And I like the fact that we're getting better at blending in and getting better information. Everything's getting better. There's a lot of destruction. It's like easier, right? It's easier to talk about doom and gloom. I get it. It's like saucier or whatever, but my goodness, is the world great. And my goodness, there are more the good of in the world outmatches and is greater than by orders of magnitude than the evil. And so don't believe everything. Don't believe everything that you read. Again, people writing those articles have their reasons, and there's no hate coming from me here, man. But all I'm going to say is, like, the world is a beautiful place. Cybersecurity industry is strong, lovely, wonderful people coming in all the time. People are motivated to do a good job, and that is by far the norm and default, and not the other stuff.
There we go. That's absolutely the moment to end on. Adam, thank you very much for joining us today. Brilliant chat.
As always, man. Thank you.
Smashing. Thanks everybody for watching and listening. Don't forget to subscribe to make sure you catch the next episode of Return of the Hack. But that's all from us today. Once again, Adam, thank you very much.
Thank you, Neil.